What's up, guys? We are walking into Downstream Resort and Casino for the $135 buy-in Rungood Pro-Am Bounty opening event. We're about to go have a little meeting, get our bounty envelope, and yeah, get after it. Got our bounty envelope, found our way to our table, got our chips, and we are in the action. Now let's go over some hands. Okay guys, time to hop into some hands from the Rungood Bounty Tournament. So, this is going to be a little different than just a normal multi-table tournament because I am a bounty. So, if anybody knocks me, or I think there were 9 other designated bounty players in the tournament, you win their envelope. So the envelope is going to have a prize in it, which can vary from $50 worth of Rungood apparel all the way up to $1,000 cash. So people are like heavily incentivized to try to knock specifically me out. Now, these are tournament hands. I've got quite a few of them, so we're going to run through the less interesting ones quickly, and the more pivotal ones will take a little bit more time. One of the first hands of the tournament, you start off with about 6,000. The blinds were 50 and 100. I look down at pocket sevens from under the gun. I open it up to 150, the small blind, and a middle position player call. So not too happy, not too sad. We're fine with it. Off to see a flop. Flop comes down a very interesting one. The flop is 8-7-5, so we flop middle set, but it is all spades. So not really sure what to do. The small blind leads out into us for 625. I'm not going anywhere yet. I make the call. The middle position player folds. The turn is a 3 of diamonds. My opponent checks. I think it's time to go ahead and take the lead now and charge whatever single spade that he probably has a large amount. I bet 1,100 and he just folds. So very oddly played by him, but we'll take it, and we're off to a good start in the tournament. Okay, so the next meaningful hand, we look down at ace of clubs, jack of spades. Not too bad. I opened to 250 from under the gun, and I started this hand with about 6,500. I get 2 callers, so a little bit more action than I wanted, but can't complain too much. Flop is king, king, 5, so super high card, flop, paired board. I should have all the kings in my range still, so that's great. Action checks through. I'm not trying to lead out in this flop into 2 opponents. Trying to play a little bit tighter against multiple opponents, I guess. I think I'm actually fine with a check here, because if I bet and then get raised, I'm just gonna have to fold, not realize any of my equity. Turn is a jack, so a great turn for me. I check, and the other player checks. Button bets 300, and I make the call. I don't think I should have checked. I think I should have gone ahead and led out on this card. I'm not sure what my thought process was for checking, but anyway, or checking and then calling, but anyway, that's what I did. River's a 5, I check, button bets 1,100, so I guess I induced a bluff here because I call and he goes ahead and mucks his cards. So we'll take it. Pretty happy. Our opponent in that one actually asked for a shout out in the vlog. His name is Johnny Freeman from Alabama by way of Kansas City is what he said. So Johnny Freeman, if you're watching this, here's your shout out, and let me know in the comments if you are. That would be absolutely crazy. It'd be great to hear from you. So after that ace jack hand, and we've had a couple mundane hands, but we're doing pretty well. I actually have 10,500 from a 6K starting stack to start off with this hand. So I've looked down at ace king, I open up to 400. A guy with starting stack sees one player between us, call the 400, and then goes all in. I'm not sure what I should do here. People were playing pretty loose and crazy, as you can tell from the starting stack and the fact that the blinds have already gone up to 100, 100 with a 100 ante, a 100 big blind ante. This tournament is structured fairly quickly, which makes sense for a weeknight tournament that didn't start until 7 o'clock. So anyway, I decide he's probably getting a little aggressive with me. Plus I've got ace king, so it can't be that bad, and I make the call. Sure enough, he flips over ace queen, so we are pumped. The flop comes out clean. The turn comes out clean, so we are looking great. And the river comes over is the queen. We are devastated. Could have had a huge stack and really been able to apply some pressure, but instead we are knocked down to below starting stack. What are you gonna do? Got it in good? Sometimes you lose, but we're still in, so at least we survive. So we're knocked down to about 4K now from our 6K starting stack. The blinds are still 100, 100 with a 100 big blind ante. So we don't have a ton of chips and things have been escalating. Like the table is playing very splashy, like a lot of people shoving. So my 4K feels like even less than it actually is. So we look down at pocket nines from the big blind. Time to probably get it in. The hijack limps, the button limps. I go ahead and shove for 4,000. So the hijack calls, the button folds. Time to look at what happens.
Nine. Bounty has nines. King, jack, 7. Deuce on the turn. 8 on the turn, bounty survives.
Sweater.
The next hand we're going to look at is a really big one. I look down at pocket kings under the gun +1. I'm starting the hand out with about 9K and we're playing 100, 200 with a 200 big blind ante. So the under the gun player limps. I open to 900. 2 players behind me and the 2 players after me and the early position limper make the call. So you guys know what's coming when that many people call you and you've got kings, right? Sure enough, the flop comes ace high, ace 10-10, so to make it worse. Early position player checks. I definitely check. I'm kind of like checked out of this hand at this point. I'm really disappointed though because I was hoping to like double up with pocket kings. The next player bets 1,500. The next player goes all in for less. The limper and I both fold. I just don't see any way that I'm good here. Well, one player had ace 4 and one player had king 10. So, great fold, Kenny. Good job. Like, all right. Well, unfortunately, I paid attention to the run out, and the freaking turn is a king. So if I would have made some like terrible call or some terrible play, I would have turned the nuts, and I wouldn't have tripled up, but I would have had like probably 25K or something like that. So anyway, we made the right play. It would have worked out if we made the wrong play, though. So on to the next one. So after the pocket kings debacle, we look down at pocket 7s from the button. We have been card dead for a while at this point. The blinds went up, so we're playing 300, 200 with a 300 button or 300 big blind ante. So anyway, we got pocket 7s, pretty good situation. Action folds to me, I make it 800 and the small blind calls. So maybe I should have just like straight up shipped it since I had about 7,000 or something like that left, but I think an open is the normal thing to do here. Flop comes down ace 7-3, so fantastic, we flopped a set. Small blind checks and I check, not trying to run them off. The turn is a queen, small blind bets 2,600. I go ahead and shove for 6,000 and she calls. We're praying. She flips over ace 6. Not really sure what she was doing, so I double up there. Easy, no problem. So now we're sitting at about 14 or 15K and I am peaking in the tournament. So everybody who plays tournaments knows that eventually things usually tend to come down to a flip. So we're getting short at this point after having our big double up. It's a tournament, blinds keep going up, antes keep going up. I love the big blind ante, but it gets really punishing. We actually were playing short-handed for a little bit, so it was coming around more often. Our table just hadn't gotten filled up. I'm not sure what was causing that, but it happens. So anyway, we are in the small blind, and we look down at pocket 6s. We saw a late position open. I think it was the hijack opened, and we have to go with our pocket 6s. We had 20 big blinds at this point, and I'm pretty sure we were playing 300, 600, so we did not have a ton of chips. We were not getting close to money or anything like that. And we know we're going to get called, so we can get called by a worse hand pretty often. So that's what we do. We ship it in with pocket sixes. So we are sweating it, waiting for them to flip over their hand. They flip it over. They don't have a pocket pair. They've got ace jack, so we've got a shot here. Unfortunately, the door card on the flop is an ace. So we are destroyed. No help on the turn, no help on the river, and we are out of the tournament. So the suspense doesn't really end there because we get to wait around and see if our envelope had the $1,000 in it to see if the lucky lady who knocked us out will get $1,000. Unfortunately, she opens up the envelope and it does not have $1,000 in there, but she does get $50 in Rungood store credit, so she can get herself a nice hoodie or backpack, or they've got all kinds of good stuff over there. Unfortunately, we're out of the tournament, but we can go right over, hop into the cash games, and try and make some of our money back. So let's get over there, see if we can turn things around. So in life, like in poker, you don't really want to make the same mistake multiple times. You want to kind of learn from that mistake and not commit it again. Well, this cash game was a mistake that I'm not going to repeat. So, first mistake, I buy in short. I buy in for only 150 when the maximum buy-in is 300, playing 1-2 because I didn't want to go to the ATM. Stupid. Should have either bought him for 300 or not played. First hand we're going to jump into, I'm not going to get super in depth in these hands, most of them are terrible. First meaningful hand, I play against the Johnny Freeman, who I shouted out earlier in the episode. I've got Queen Jack, I flop top pair, somehow extract 3 streets of value from him, so that was fine, got off to a decent start. Next hand, I look down at Ace 9 of Hearts, I flop trips, I'm assuming 9s, I get 2 streets of value, and he ends up folding on the river, so still doing well. Next hand we're going to go over, I look down at King Jack, I make a call pre-flop, which I should assume I would probably have been better off raising. Flop comes down Jack high, I call all 3 streets so I don't raise at all. One player turned a set of 8s, the other player had Jack 10, so he had a smaller jack. The guy who had flopped or who had turned the set never raised because he was apparently scared of a straight of some sort. So we lose that hand, and it was a fairly big one, which, how do I ever think that King Jack is good 3 ways calling all the way to the river? Super dumb. Next hand and the last meaningful one, I tried to bluff a guy who had checked a set, the same guy who had checked the set in the previous hand, but he called all 3 streets after flopping top pair, holding King Queen. So that was it. I'm not even sure if that was the bust out hand. I know we lost the $150. It was a huge waste of time. Not gonna be doing that again. If you're in a spot where you can actually like bust out of a tournament, have a clear head, have plenty of rest, whatever, get in there and play normally. Don't buy in short unless you always buy in short. Don't play bad, I guess. I don't know. Just, it was a terrible idea. I'm never gonna play well after I bust out of a tournament like that unless I like take some time, or it's like really early in the day so I can completely reset and get back after it. So anyway, not a mistake we'll be making again.
Got back from Downstream at about 2-ish, 1:30-ish, fell asleep about 2-ish. I don't know, but we are beat. We worked 8 hours today. It is time for a nap. Shout out to everybody at Rungood. Amazing event. Great for the venue. Amazing for the players. Really cool atmosphere. Great deal. But we're going to be back in the mix soon. So I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Time for me to take a nap.